everyone, and welcome back to the Calvin Tobin Show. I am your host, Calvin Tobin. Today we have a lot to talk about, so let's get right into it. All right, in the NHL, they are heading for the All-Star break, and the All-Star game is this Saturday, and we have two games that we're going to be able to watch this Saturday in the All-Star break. The All-Star games will be the Central Division versus the Pacific Division at 3 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. Then we have the Atlantic Division versus the Metropolitan Division at 4 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. Now, before the All-Star break gets started, there were a couple of games that we needed to finish up before the entire week gets started. And those two games the first one was the Carolina Hurricanes versus the Buffalo Sabres. And the Hurricanes took care of business, beating the Sabres 5-1, and because of the victory, they were able to extend their winning streak to 7, and their forward, Sebastian Aho, has dialed his skills to 11 because he has scored 9 goals in the last 6 games and 10 goals in the last 8. Just been on complete beast mode, and because of Aho's recent domination, he has helped the Hurricanes be up 2 wins and 8 points for first place in the Metropolitan Division over the New Jersey Devils. The second game that was to be played was the Boston Bruins versus the Toronto Maple Leafs. And going into this game, the Boston Bruins were desperate to get back into the win column because they had just suffered a 3-game losing streak to end January, while Toronto is hanging on for dear life for second place in the Atlantic Division. And with Toronto, they would be in third place right now. Tampa only is in third place just because the amount of how much more games that Toronto has played, and that's the only reason why Toronto has more points. But all in all, Tampa would be ahead if they had played the same amount of games. Now, anyways, going into this game, how did it go down? Well, both of these guys, Boston and Toronto, started this game off fast. They were skating right by each other, getting multiple breakaway chances, and just shooting the daylights out of the puck. And as that first period was going, this was where both of these teams are trying to set the tone for the game by shooting the puck out of the rink and constantly hitting each other against the walls back and forth. But the one thing is that they could never get the puck in that goal. And it looked to be like it was going, that the way the first period went, it was going to be a 2-1, 3-1 type of game. But as soon as that second period hit, it was a completely different story, because in that second period, 3 goals were scored, 2 by Boston and 1 by Toronto. And in that second period, the breakaway chances and the scoring chances continued to flourish for Boston, and Toronto had no chance of catching back up because they were only able to get 2 goals out of this whole game, while Boston was scoring 2 goals in the second and 3 goals in the third. And their all-star of the game was Pavel Zacha, because he was able to get 2 goals to finish off the game to make the score 5-2. But how Boston got to these 5 goals is throughout the entire game, their speed slowly wore out Toronto, and once that fatigue really started to hit, Toronto's defense started to open, and where passing was a lot more smooth for Boston, and shots were falling a lot more easily. And the one goal, the first goal that Toronto was able to get they were able to get it on a breakaway shot as well, and it was an assist from Ilya Samsonov, and Mitch Marner could not have been as wide open as he could have possibly been to get that first goal. And because of that goal, he was able to notch his 60th point of the season so far, and now he has yet another season of 60 points. And throughout his entire career, Mitchell Marner has never been under 60 points in a season in his career. Now, here's the thing with Boston, Yeah, they are back to winning, and they won 5-2 against Toronto, but they are still completely silent on the power play, and that's what they've been known for other than these past 4 games, because over the last 4 games, they have gone over 13 in that category, and it's a good thing that that they're going into the All-Star break, because with what has been going on over the last 4 games, going 1 for 3, and they were going into their next 3 games without the All-Star break, it would look messy for Boston, and then they would probably start to lose more, but it's a good thing that they got rest. Now, here's the thing. When it comes to being able to score, Damian Lillard has never made it look easier for himself other than this year, because this dude has been a scoring monster over the last 11 games. And over the 11 game span, he is averaging 39 points per game, and scored 40 points six times in those 11 games. He scored 46 times, 50 twice, and 60 once. And he's coming off a back-to-back game of 42 points against Atlanta and Memphis. And he ended up playing the Memphis Grizzlies last night, and that 42 points helped out a lot, at least in the end, because here is what has been transpiring for Memphis and how this game went down. Well, going into this game, the Portland TRAILBLAZERS are looking to get their 4th win in their last 5 games, as they won their last 3 out of their last 4. And Memphis has got to figure out on how to get back into winning, because they have lost 6 of their last 7 games. And because of how Memphis has played lately, it didn't look so good in this game, because Memphis did start out this game strong with fast break and quick passing, and they were able to jump up to a good lead for a while. But here's the thing: with Memphis having that lead, Portland slowly came back, and this is all in the first half as well. Portland slowly came back because Memphis, they did have fast break offenses and good passing, and the defense kept up pretty well with it, but it didn't work as well as you think it did, because Portland slowly came back, and they didn't do it with efficiency in their shooting game, at least from shooting in regular. They actually were able to keep up from the free throw line, and that's what helped them out in the first half. In that second half, this is where Portland has started to come back, but it wasn't so. But everyone wasn't so sure, because it didn't look like that Portland was going to be able to win. But here's how it happened: is in that second half, Memphis and Portland were going back and forth. Portland would get within range of either tying the game or being within range of 3 to 5 points, and then go right back to being down by 8 to 10 points. And this went all the way up until there was 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and it looked like, oh yeah, Memphis has got this wrapped up. Memphis is going to get their 33rd win of the season, but that didn't happen, because in the final 3 minutes of this game, 53% of the points in the fourth quarter were scored in the final 3 minutes. 32 points, and Damian Lillard was a huge help in that fourth quarter as well, because he dropped 26 points in that fourth quarter to help the Portland TRAILBLAZERS beat the Memphis Grizzlies 122 to 113. And Damian Lillard has been one hell of a beast lately. And it's crazy because, and like I said this before, the scoring rampage and entourage that's coming into this league, and that's slowly blooming right before our eyes. We're about to see where a 25 to 30 point game won't be a good game anymore. It's going to have to be 35 to 40 points if you want to be looked at as an all-star in this league. And there have been many superstars that have been at the helm of that, like Giannis, LeBron, Damian Lillard, Luka, Nikola. everybody. But with the Portland Trailblazers, that's the thing with Damian Lillard, is that it's just him, and then he's got a bunch of other guys that he hopes to make that he's hoping that they'll make shots when they get the ball. Because if Damian Lillard was on a good team, let's just say with Memphis or with Dallas, these guys would have deep playoff runs every single time. Now here's the thing, with Memphis, because of them losing the 6 of their last 7 games, these guys have got to start to figure out how to win, because what they have gone through as of lately, they are about to lose second place in the Western Division, because the Clippers and the Kings are both on a roll. The Clippers have won 6 out of their last 7 games, and the Kings have won 4 out of their last 7 games. And right now, the way that everything's going between Memphis, the Clippers, and Sacramento, the Grizzlies could fall down to 4th place really quick, because the Sacramento Kings and the LA Clippers are waiting right there to take the top spot. And let's see if Denver can hold the spot up the entire year, or for the rest of the year, because it looks like they're one of those teams that just has a roll going that they can't be stopped. Now, when it comes to being a top tier team, it's hard to stay there, hard to stay at the top when you're in the NBA, but it is way harder when it comes to basketball. And this year, top tier teams know a thing or two about falling when they're at the top. And what has happened in college basketball this year is 10 different times where a team is ranked 2 or higher, the second or best ranked team in the country has lost 10 times this year. And the Tennessee Volunteers are the latest victim to experience that and be a part of that list, because of the 10 teams that have lost this year already being ranked 1st or 2nd. It's actually a record in the AP poll era. So that just shows you how insane college basketball is. And it's like, I don't know if you can explain year of the upset more better than what's going on this year. And with Tennessee, they were the latest victim to suffer and be on that list, because they just suffered their 3rd loss of the season, now being 18-3, and lost their 3rd game of the year to the Florida Gators, 67-54. And here's what happened in this game. Florida practically had the lead the entire time. They got going fast and easy for them. And what happened with the Gators is that with the way their offense was going, they were able to keep this game pretty open and away from Tennessee. And the Florida's offense wasn't the only reason that they were able to do this. The main reason is because of the Gators' defense. These guys usually are not one of the best defensive teams unless it comes to block shots, because the Gators are third in the country for block shots per game. And Tennessee has one of the best defenses in the nation. They also have won 4 in a row coming into this game, and Florida was the one that had the better defensive game this time around, because that defense, they are able to go to so many different leads in this game. They're up by 10 on multiple occasions, and they were up by as many as 13 points. But for Tennessee, they just couldn't get their scoring going until halfway through the first half, which is where the problems really started, because it doesn't matter what team you're playing. If you can't score, then it's going to be a bad look for you. And right around the 11th or 12th minute mark, this is when the Tennessee Volunteers finally got past 6 points, while Florida was well on their way. And with what Florida did throughout this game with their offense, it was working so elegantly and fluently with their defense. They were actually able to get Tennessee to start spinning circles to actually try and find the open man and block the shot to see if that worked. But it did not, and Florida was the one that came out on top with the victory. And here's the thing, with what's happening in college basketball between the Big 12 and any team that is ranked the second or best team in the nation, I'd start watching that, because those two guys and categories have been spicing up the college basketball year very amazingly, and it has been insane to watch with all of these upsets and all the good games that have transpired throughout the year. All right, that's the end of the Calvin Tobin Show. Please subscribe to my channel at Calvin Tobin Show so you don't miss out on any sports media, and please follow me on Instagram at Calvin Tobin Show so you don't miss out on any sports news whatsoever. And